It happened live and no one saw it coming. While millions watched, a top Labour aide stood up, removed her mic and walked off the set. Within minutes, two more members of Keir Starmer's senior team followed. No warning, no explanations, just silence and chaos. Why? A shocking 22 billion scandal that's now threatening to tear the Labour Party apart from the inside out. It was supposed to be a normal press briefing. Keir Starmer was scheduled to speak about the economy, flanked by his most trusted team. Shadow ministers, policy heads and media strategists. Everything looked under control, but then it happened. The cameras were rolling, journalists were asking questions, and suddenly one of Starmer's key economic advisors, a Lucy Wren, leaned into her mic and said just 6 words. "I can't be part of this." She stood up, unplugged her microphone and walked off stage. The room froze. Starmer turned, clearly shocked. Seconds later, James Patel, Labour's shadow minister for business, followed. He didn't say a word. He simply looked at Starmer, shook his head and walked away in front of live cameras. People in the audience gasped. Journalists scrambled to get their phones out. You could hear murmurs turning into panic. And then came the third blow. Maya Glenn, the party's media coordinator and one of Starmer's closest insiders, also left the room without even acknowledging the press. 3 high-level resignations in less than 5 minutes on live TV. The press conference was shut down immediately. The cameras went black. The Labour leader was rushed out by aides, looking visibly shaken. Within hours, the headlines took over. Labour staff walk out live on camera as Starmer team quits over financial scandal. 22 billion disaster explodes on TV. And just like that, the entire nation was asking the same question. What exactly is going on inside the Labour Party? It didn't take long for political commentators and insiders to start connecting the dots. All 3 who resigned had direct involvement with Labour's financial policy planning, including funding proposals for housing, NHS reforms and public infrastructure. They were the brains behind the numbers. And if they were walking away, something big had to be wrong, something big and dangerous. News crews rushed to Labour HQ, Downing Street, called emergency briefings, and rival politicians, including Reform UK's Richard Tice, were already preparing statements before the evening was over. But behind all the headlines and shockwaves was something far more alarming. Whispers that 22 billion in public funds was either missing, misused, or unaccounted for in Labour's internal documents. And the people who resigned? They were the ones who allegedly raised the red flags and got ignored. Now, what looked like a PR disaster was turning into a full-blown political meltdown. Viewers at home couldn't believe what they were seeing. Social media platforms exploded. Clips of the live walkout were trending everywhere. Some called it the biggest political walkout since Brexit. Others said it was the beginning of the end for Starmer and Labour. They were completely silent. No statement, no press release, no damage control. By nightfall, the hashtag #Labour collapse was the top trend in the UK, and trust in the party's leadership had begun to slip fast. The question now wasn't just why they walked out, but what were they walking away from? The number is shocking. 22 billion, that's more than the entire annual budget of the Department for Transport. It's more than what the UK spends on policing, fire services and public safety combined. So where did it go? At the centre of the crisis is an internal Labour funding programme meant to be a bold, forward-looking initiative to revive public services and boost green infrastructure. It was pitched as a game changer, a plan to invest in housing, clean energy, local councils and the NHS. Labour's team had been talking about it for over a year. They called it Britain 2030. The problem, now insiders are saying the money tied to it can't be accounted for. According to early leaks, financial records showed major inconsistencies. Huge chunks of the projected budget, billions of pounds, were either missing from official documents or rerouted without explanation. Worse, internal emails suggest this wasn't just a mistake. It might have been covered up by senior officials inside Starmer's own office. One whistleblower, speaking anonymously to a leading political journalist, claimed people in the room knew there were gaps in the numbers, but They were warned months ago, but they decided to keep pushing it for the cameras. Some funds were allegedly promised to third-party contractors, organisations that either don't exist or have no visible history of doing public work. Shell companies, no staff, no office, no work done. If proven, this could lead to a serious fraud investigation. And that explains why those 3 Labour insiders walked out live on TV. They weren't just upset, they were distancing themselves from a political disaster that's rapidly becoming a legal one. It's now believed that Lucy Wren, one of the first to resign, had flagged concerns about the $22 billion in multiple internal meetings. She reportedly requested an independent audit of the numbers 6 weeks ago. The response, silence. In some cases, she was even removed from email chains. And now that it's public, the questions keep piling up. Where did the money go? Who approved the payments? Why was it hidden from party members? And most importantly, did Starmer know? That's the question that's now hanging over Labour like a storm cloud. So far, Starmer has denied any wrongdoing. In his only comment to the press since the walkouts, he said, "There is no missing money. There is no cover-up. Our party remains united and focused on delivering for the British people." But political analysts say the tone of that statement sounded defensive, even rehearsed. And the fact that multiple high-level resignations followed the same day, it tells a very different story. As of now, 3 separate investigations have been triggered. An internal Labour Party review, a parliamentary committee inquiry, and most seriously, a probe by the National Audit Office, which has the power to escalate to fraud investigators if any criminal activity is suspected. Behind closed doors, Labour MPs are furious. Some are demanding full transparency. Others are distancing themselves from Starmer altogether, fearing voter backlash. And let's not forget the opposition. Conservatives, Reform UK, and even some Lib Dem figures are seizing the moment, calling for Starmer to step aside until the investigation is complete. They're asking if Labour can't handle its own money, how can it run the country? Public trust, already fragile, is now in free fall. Online polls show confidence in Labour leadership has dropped by 14% in just 48 hours. And where is the money is now trending across every major platform. But this might be more than just a scandal. This could become the defining political collapse of the decade. In the next section, we'll uncover how this disaster is shaking the Labour Party from within, creating division, panic and whispers of rebellion, all while the cameras keep rolling. Inside Labour headquarters, the mood has turned cold and divided. What began as a quiet policy issue has now exploded into the party's biggest crisis in over a decade. And at the centre of the storm is Keir Starmer. For months, Starmer's leadership was seen as stable, even boring, and that was the point. He wanted to be the calm after the chaos of Brexit and Boris. But now that calm image is cracking fast. According to insiders, there's growing frustration inside the party. Mid-level staff say they've been kept in the dark. MPs are receiving thousands of emails from angry voters asking about the $22 billion and worse. Some local party chairs are threatening to resign if answers aren't given within days. Several Labour backbenchers are now speaking out anonymously to the press. One told a national paper, "We put our trust in Starmer's team, but if there's been a cover-up, we deserve to know, and we need to act fast, or we'll lose the next election." Another MP called it a slow-motion car crash. Even some of Starmer's longtime allies are starting to pull away. Behind the scenes, talks have reportedly begun about a confidence vote. Not in Parliament, but within the Labour Party itself. A quiet revolt may be building. The damage isn't just inside Labour HQ, it's playing out across the country. Polls show a major shift in public opinion. According to a Snap poll from YouGov, 61% of voters say they don't trust Labour to manage public funds. 48% say Starmer should resign if the $22 billion isn't accounted for soon. And most shocking of all, Reform UK is now polling at 18th, gaining fast on both major parties. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has remained mostly silent, likely watching as Labour's leadership stumbles. But others in his party haven't held back. Conservative MP Tom Hunt tweeted, "If Starmer knew about the $22 billion, he's finished. If he didn't know, he's still finished. Either way, Labour's in freefall." Reform UK leader Richard Tice went even further. In a scathing public video, he declared, "This is not just mismanagement, this is betrayal. Labour can't be trusted with your taxes or your future." His video has already gained over 2 million views in 24 hours, and across social media, Labour supporters are split down the middle. Some are still defending Starmer, calling it media hype. Others are demanding full audits, open hearings, and even criminal charges. In town halls, Labour councillors are now being heckled during public meetings. Protesters have gathered outside multiple constituency offices holding signs that read, "Where is the money?" and "No trust, no vote." This isn't just a scandal, it's a test of leadership, of transparency, and of the future of the Labour movement. Keir Starmer built his image on being clean, calm, and competent. But the longer he stays silent or vague, the more that image begins to fade, and the consequences could be massive. Already, the party's internal campaign staff are preparing for potential snap elections, even though one isn't scheduled yet. Why? Because the damage from this scandal could spiral out of control. One campaign strategist put it bluntly, if we don't clean this up fast, we won't just lose, but we'll be wiped out. In the next and final section, we'll explore what comes next. Will Starmer survive this scandal? Could a new Labour leader rise, or is this the beginning of a complete political reshuffle? The stakes are rising, and Britain is watching. The 22 billion scandal has already shaken Labour to its core, but now the question is what happens next? Will Keir Starmer survive this political earthquake, or are we witnessing the early signs of a total collapse? Political insiders say the pressure is now unbearable. With 3 top aides gone, whistleblower reports leaking daily, and public trust falling, Starmer is left with just 2 real options. Option 1, damage control. He could call an emergency press conference, reveal all internal documents, invite an independent audit, and try to win back trust through transparency. But so far, that hasn't happened. Instead, Starmer has remained tight-lipped. His public appearances have been limited. His team has only released short statements denying wrongdoing. The result, even members of his own party say the silence is making things worse. According to leaked WhatsApp messages from Labour MPs, some are actively discussing leadership alternatives, not after the next election, but within the next few weeks. One senior MP wrote, "We can't go into the autumn with this scandal still hanging over us. If Keir doesn't clear this up, he's gone." Option 2, Starmer steps aside, whether temporarily or for good. This would send a powerful signal to the public. Labour is serious about accountability, but it would also risk plunging the party into a power vacuum. Names like Angela Rayner, Wes Streeting, and even Andy Burnham are being whispered as possible successors, but none of them are without controversy. And a sudden leadership change this close to a general election, it could backfire badly. And then there's a third possibility. Civil war, not in the streets, but within the Labour Party itself. If the current leadership refuses to fully explain the missing billions, and if internal investigations are blocked or slowed, we could see mass resignations, splits in the party line, and even the formation of new breakaway factions. Already, whispers of a new Labour renewal group have emerged. A collection of MPs and party veterans pushing for a rebrand, fresh leadership, and total transparency. If they go public, it could fracture the party in the same way UKIP once split the Conservatives. Meanwhile, opposition parties are on the attack. The Conservatives are using the scandal to paint Labour as financially irresponsible. Reform UK is doubling down, claiming this proves the entire system is broken. Even the Liberal Democrats are gaining in the polls, positioning themselves as the only clean alternative amid the chaos. But beyond politics, something deeper is happening. Voters, especially working class and first-time voters, are starting to lose faith not just in Labour, but in the entire political system. And once trust is gone, it's nearly impossible to win back. As the scandal continues to unfold, the public is left with more questions than answers. Will Labour open up the books and explain where the 22 billion went? Will Keir Starmer take full responsibility? And most importantly, can the party survive the storm it created? The next few days will be critical. One bold move could save Starmer's leadership. One more cover-up could destroy it. This isn't just a political scandal, it's a national reckoning, and we are watching it live. So keep your eyes on Westminster, because the next headline could change British politics forever.